Lucas, so I got a question real quick before I just jump into this one. Everyone that I've been talking to when it comes to AI and agents and AI go to market, everyone tends to fall into one of two camps for how they got started in this sort of craziness. They were either someone gave them money, so like, here, take my money and fix this for me, or else they were trying to fix their own problem and so like, I bet I could do this with some kind of agent or something. Do I want to bother learning? I'll learn it, and then I'll fix my own problem. So which one were you?
Definitely in that camp of fixing our own problem. But
Yeah,
the word AI agent did not exist when we were fixing
right.
our own problem. AI didn't even exist as a terminology, as a common terminology when we were fixing our own problem. So yeah, definitely in that.
Okay. What problem were you trying to fix?
Triage in IT support. So when a
Mm,
ticket comes into your ticket help desk and
yep.
it's a password reset, computer running slow, you're setting up a new staff member or a new user, that understanding what the technician should be focused on, and we call that triage. It's similar to a hospital, but essentially what should the technician be prioritizing in their day?
And did you solve that problem perfectly the first time?
Oh,
Or was there a bit
absolutely.
of muddling
Yeah, everything's
around?
magic, right? No,
Yeah,
definitely not.
absolutely.
Definitely not. It took us nearly 5 years to solve that problem.
Right. And there's uh so let's think about sort of in my terms for marketing, we talk about the negative present and the positive future. So the negative present is pretty straightforward. Lots of tickets coming in. Triage, if it's not done, very expensive because they'll just folks will just like do tickets in order that they came in. Not a great idea. And of course, you can't count on the people submitting the ticket to accurately figure out if it's like a priority one, priority two, because to them, of course, it's a priority. And so, like, that's the negative present. What did the positive future look like when you were done?
On top of that negative present, it was more also technicians or engineers in the IT support world. They will cherry pick what they want to work
Yeah,
on. So it's like, can I get the five? It's like endorphin hits. Like think about social media today. We listen to a 3 minute, 3 second clip, and we get an endorphin hit. Similar in the IT support realm, right? If an engineer can solve something in 5 minutes, they'll always go and try and solve the quick ones first because it gives them that endorphin hit. Where the ones that are probably most urgent and the ones that are more complicated and they take 2 hours or 4 hours to fix, they always get shoved to the bottom of the list. So that's probably that negative presence you're talking about. From a positive point of view, obviously you've got to put two hats on. You've got to put the engineer or technician hat on, and you've got to put the customer hat on. From a customer's point of view, you're right. They want their problem solved, and so if you think about it from a positive point of view, it's always we're always coming from a customer service perspective, right? How can we make the customer experience amazing, and then what do we need to do from an engineering point of view to actually make that successful? And so if we put the customer service hat on, you go, well, you're right. Every problem is the biggest problem in the world, and so you do have to prioritize and you have to be honest with the customers, but you need to explain that. And technicians are not very good at explaining, or they're not very customer service people. So what we baked into our triage component when we were automating this was that response, that the communication on the response, not just a hey, thanks, we received your ticket, we'll get to that soon, but a proper customer journey we baked into the triage process.
okay. Okay. So, oh, by the way, speaking of like, getting stuff done fast and short attention span, I was at a friend's house a few weeks ago, and the 5-year-old was waiting while something was being cooked in the microwave, and said, "Where's the fast forward button on this thing?"
Yeah, attention spans changed dramatically, and I couldn't even
Yeah,
imagine being a young kid these days, and you get everything instantly, right? So
I can't imagine.
5 minutes on the microwave, that's a long time. You wouldn't want to wait.
Now, I have my definition, and it's simplistic. And I like to ask the really dumb questions as if I'm the CEO. No offense to CEOs, but as if I didn't know anything. Because you get really interesting and great answers when you ask questions as if you don't know anything. If I'm a CEO and someone's talking about how, hey, we've had these workflows, but now we want to augment them or even replace them with agentic workflows, right? We want to use agents. Like, what does it mean? So
Yeah,
that I don't I don't have to embarrass myself by saying something silly the next time I'm in a conversation where someone talks about
I
agentic.
literally get this question daily, right? Because what is an AI agent? Well, what is this buzzword? What is AI? So when I mentioned, in our Tribute business that we had set up 10 years ago, AI wasn't even a thing. It was machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing. And so even today, these buzzwords are populating around the world around AI and AI agents. And there's essentially no difference to what we've done for the last 15, 20 years in automation. We're just putting the action item on that decision-making component. And so this question I get literally asked daily from CEOs. Hey, my staff want AI agents. What does that even mean? How do I even go about it? And you got to really think about the process that you're solving and what decisions get made in that process from a human point of view. If you like it or not, Dean, essentially, we as humans make 10,000 decisions a day with our mind and with our gut. And so when we go through our process and our task, and when we're building these agents, we need to understand that entire process flow and then what decision we're making in that process flow. And that's when I guess this new terminology of the AI agent, it's essentially taking that entire process flow and the decision-making components, and it's actioning those items how you would action them as a human. And so you just got to break it right down. Where a lot of people get this wrong is they go, I just want an agent and just go and solve this problem, but not think through the problem in detail. And if you don't think through it in detail, you won't get the result you're looking for. And then people go, oh, AI doesn't work for me. AI is not magic right now. We're not in this, we're not in the AGI realm. We're not in fast forward 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. We're in the space where humans are driving AI. AI is not driving humans. And so you've got to really think through the process inside and out before you'll get to that agentic AI or AI agent.
Yep. That's almost identical to the way that I explain it to people who don't have it. I say, we've had these workflows. Maybe you use Zapier at work, or you've like hard coded. Imagine it's Zapier. Like, we've had automated workflows for 15 plus years, but they can't make any real judgments in context. So if something comes in and it's like not in the exact right order that they're used to, or different at all, they're either going to ignore it or it'll break the process. I say, now we can inject points of judgment. And I say, oh, obviously the first name is supposed to be in position 3, not position 7. So I'm gonna take all this apart, reorganize the right thing, and then pass it through, right? And all along the points, it'll make all of these little decisions. It'll apply some judgment, right? You want to keep it pretty narrow per workflow or per agent, or else they get too like wild. But if you keep it like small, then you can make all these like judgment points, and suddenly you're not depending on Marge, who's the only one who knows to look at three spreadsheets in order to figure out when something needs to be shipped out. And God forbid Marge goes on vacation and everyone stacks up for 2 weeks till she gets back, and she better never leave. Right now, now software can do a lot of that small judgment stuff on behalf of people, and it's kind of fantastic.
What's really cool, what we're seeing today with our judgment conversation is, say Marge has done that same spreadsheet process and entering data into a spreadsheet or into an ERP system for 20 years, and that's literally her entire role. People go, well, if we just replace what she already does like for like, we're not really adding too much value to our business. So we'll automate that process and give her time back, but what does that mean to the actual business overall? What we're seeing today with the latest AI models, large language models that have come out, and that decision-making component, we actually can use AI to help us make better decisions and come up with better logics and better ways of working now. It's not always 100% correct. Don't just trust it first time. It's we still get a lot of hallucinations. But it's like the conversation you said earlier about the 5-year-old kid, right? This is a big misconception with AI. And I think us humans, we're being brainwashed, adult humans, I should say, we're being brainwashed, right? From the schooling system, the university system, to the working system, where when you're a kid, a 5-year-old kid, a 10-year-old kid, you haven't been brainwashed yet, which means you have creativity. And that's what we're missing. What we're seeing a lot in the workforce is that creativity is missing. As soon as you can be more creative, you can get really, really amazing outcomes out of AI. But if we're going, hey, it's like for like, it's a copy paste, let's just try to put this AI agent in to do what we've always done, there's no creativeness because we don't have that creative flair. You bring a 5-year-old kid or a 10-year-old kid into your workforce, they'll think the most magical things up in the world to try and solve your problem that you've never thought of, because they don't have that limiting belief. And that's what we're currently seeing as a limiting factor in rolling out these AI agents, is thinking through the process in clearly detailed, but then also having that creative flair to come up with some new way of working.
Yep. No, I agree. Okay. just so we're clear before we move off this kind of topic, can you explain to a new to AI CEO like me in my pretend role here, the difference between a workflow and an agent?
The honest difference is the decision-making component. The rest is the same. So the workflow, so an agent is just following a workflow. It's just doing it faster, better, more accurate. That's like at speed, right? If you go if this then that workflow that you've already built, essentially that can stay in place. You don't need to change that. You don't need to like reinvent the wheel unless there's something majorly broken in your company as of today. The agent is making those decision-making components, but it's also connecting the pieces. So if you think like from a sales point of view, most sales and sales reps, they're out on the road, they're having conversations, they're having meetings, they're doing all these touch points with customers, they're then updating CRM such as HubSpot, they're then probably creating proposals, they're then sending this out to a client. There's all these touch points in place. Where an agent fits into that workflow that I just explained, it's doing a lot of that heavy lifting for that particular salesperson. The salesperson is then working with the agent, but the agent's doing the actual heavy lifting. So the workflows and AI agents, honestly, they're the same thing. An AI agent just makes it, does all the action items off the back of a workflow that you've already built.
All right, so, okay, let's move on to money. A lot of companies are rushing in. A lot of companies are staying away, often for the same reason, fear, right? And a lot of companies who rush in, like they're either paying someone who may or may not know enough about what they're doing, or they're trying to do it themselves. Like, what's the most, if I want to avoid the most expensive common mistake as a CEO around AI and go-to-market automation, what's the most expensive mistake I should keep an eye on, make sure we're not going down that road?
AI is going to replace everything we do today.
Yeah.
You want it to be, so Copilot, you would have heard of the terminology most likely from Microsoft Copilot. Copilot is a human working with AI. Microsoft just grabbed a hold of this terminology. They essentially trademarked, well, I don't know if they actually trademarked it, but they essentially put it in their product set, and now everyone knows the word Copilot to do with the Microsoft product. But the actual word Copilot means a human working with AI. That's all you need to really think about. If you don't want to get it wrong today, and you want to build out your sales strategy or your go-to-market strategy, and have your salespeople working in a really effective way, they work with AI. AI doesn't replace them 100%. Society's not ready yet. I'm talking about today, not in 3 years from now or 5 years from now. I'm talking about today, right? Which is most organizations that we talk to, and we're talking about traditional businesses, 50 staff, 100 staff, 200, 500 staff, manufacturing, logistics, construction businesses. These companies were still at only 1% adoption rate of utilizing AI practically. I'm not talking about ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude. That's just that's a surface level. I'm talking about practical implementation of AI in their business. We're still at only 1% of the market share, right? It's still very early, which means society is not ready to have an entire process 100% automated and AI driven, right? So if you think about it, a salesperson, a company wants to deal with a salesperson. They don't want to deal with an AI phone call, an AI video call. They don't want to deal with everything 100% being automated. They still want that human-to-human connection and human touch. And I don't see that going away anytime soon, to be honest, because humans love to work with humans. And so that's where the biggest mistake is I'm seeing right now is people are trying to push really far forward and not think about their customer. What does their customer want? And meet them in the middle. Don't think, hey, we can push really, really far forward, because then you won't win
that. Now, there's two schools of thoughts about how to get started on anything when you're a company, and maybe as a person. There are people who say, look, if something's brand new, you're doing it for the first time, you should start knocking out the easiest wins first, right? And build your experience, build your confidence, learn what you don't know, right? Find out, you don't know the things you don't know yet. And then the other school of thought is to stay motivated to get on this. You want to go after something painful and fix it. Maybe even your biggest pain, right? In your experience, does one of those approaches work better than the other, or also is one of those approaches more common?
Yeah, they both have merit. I always say, what is your biggest frustration? What should we solve today? And how would you feel if you never had that frustration again come Monday next week? What is your biggest frustration and what you'd love to solve? If you focus on that, and not just you personally, but if you talk to your whole team, and we do surveys all the time to capture this data from teams. Once you understand what that biggest frustration is for that individual person, that individual department, like within the entire company, if you can solve that and that alleviates 30%, 50%, sometimes 80% of the workload, and that frustration then disappears, people go from being really, really upset and sad to being extremely happy because they're focusing on what they love to do. The point between should I solve something that's easy versus solve something that's really, really difficult? There's two trains of thoughts here, right? Because that biggest frustration could also be the biggest thing to solve, which is the most complex to solve, right? What we've found, and like we've been in AI for 10 years now, right? So this is like I'm talking about from a human adoption process, not a technology process in this conversation. The adoption process is slow. And so if you try to solve something really, really complicated and you don't bring your team along for the journey and they don't see quick wins, they will give up on AI. And so you need it. So I go, well, can you solve something really complicated? And it takes 6 months, 12 months, but no one knows about it. Do it behind the scenes. But what can you show the team? What can you show the whole company of what you're doing today to bring everyone along the journey? And that's usually the quick wins you can solve in 6 weeks or 3 months, not in 6 months or 12 months. You asked for an example. Simple examples is quoting, estimating, report writing. Like they're probably like if we're talking about
nurturing, follow up, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, things that you can do today and add massive amount of value. You would have seen the latest release with all the say Claude or the latest models. Like if you want a really amazing board presentation to take to the board, like I can whip that up in less, like with one prompt now. Like one prompt, you've got the entire board presentation, you've got your entire context of everything you've done, you present it to the board. Like it's just amazing what you can do these days.
Or a dashboard.
Or a dashboard, or any reporting, any metrics. We do a lot of business cases, a lot of ROIs to go, well, there's no point solving this because it's only one for one, but if we solve this problem, it's a 10x ROI. Like it's all calculated using AI now. Like we haven't got to spend days or months figuring this out. Well, really simply, like when we do process reviews, if I was to do a process review to figure out the biggest pain point to solve, previously, it would take me 5 hours to create the process maps. We now do one session, we transcribe it, we have the process map 100% created in less than 5 seconds. Like it's mind blowing. So yeah, focus on the quick wins, show people the outcomes, and then solve the biggest pain points later
on. And it might not change between like AI go to market and just regular go to market, but like what's the signal? Like, and here's why I'm asking. In AI and AI go to market, especially, we take a lot of words that were already in use and meant something else, and we change it, right? We change what graph means. We change what waterfall means. We change what all kinds of stuff. And so, what does signal mean? What's a signal in AI go to market, and why does it matter?
Signals have been around forever. We just haven't put a terminology around it, right? It's like back when we started in the AI space, it's machine learning, NLP, deep learning, not AI. So from a signal point of view, it's can we meet the buyer when they're ready to buy, not go through a 6-month education process to get them ready to buy. So what signals are they going through? What signals is your customer going through, or do you need to obtain from your customer to make sure you're meeting them at the exact same place that they're ready? As you know, with sales teams or even marketing teams, right? You're always out there trying to warm up these leads, the good old terminology, right? And people spend months and hundreds of thousands of dollars on warming up leads or going to conferences and trying to get out there and just like, but if that customer's not ready to buy right now, then essentially you're spending all this money and effort to get them ready to buy. But is there a way that you can take them on a journey using AI without you physically doing it? understand all the signals, the buying signals that come back along that journey. And then when they are ready, you're then having a meeting with them, face-to-face, Teams, Zoom, whatever it might be, at the exact point that they're ready to buy. And so there's a lot of noise out there in the market of all these new AI signal companies coming up. Essentially what this means is data matching and data patterning, right? So looking at all the data points that happen throughout a buyer's journey, bringing that in, analyzing that data, and then providing that back to the consumer or the customer buying this information to go, okay, now I know Joe Smith is ready to buy at month 3 because of X, Y, Z, and we know what his journey is going to be like. And great, we're going to have a meeting with him at that point in time.
That's great. That's how I would have done it. Okay. Couple more questions. First of all, how do you choose or help clients choose which models to build on?
When you're talking about models, about AI models, large language models?
Yeah, frontier models or like local open source models, if that's the way it's going to go.
Yeah. So I'll be super clear here. We work in the B2B space, and most of our clients are on Microsoft 365, and IP and security is their number one thing. You know, talking about that 50, 100 staff, 500 staff of business. And so in that SME to mid-market space.
So in your situation, there's basically an incumbent, and to recommend something beyond Microsoft, you'd have to fight against the incumbent. You argue against the incumbent. Not fight against
Microsoft,
argue against.
But against open source. So if I was to say, hey, we should roll out DeepSeek into your organization, and they go, what's DeepSeek? Because they've never heard of it, or they've seen an article about it. And you go, well, it's an open source model from China. And they go, hell no, that's not happening. They say, any purpose? And they said, no, we just don't want it. Like, there's just, you don't even want to, there's no point even having this conversation, right? Because the compliance, risk, and security around this is number one. That's definitely number one. And then below that, we go, okay, well, we've got 15 models to choose from. What model do we choose? Now, this is the big open-ended question, right? Every single model is now coming up with its own personality, i.e., a different model is being used to solve different things. For example, if we do a lot of report writing, a really good model that we use is the Azure, so inside Microsoft 365, the Azure AI search model. That model is really, really good for report writing and data matching to write reports. Though I wouldn't use that if I'm going to be, creating, marketing campaigns. Definitely not. Like, I just wouldn't do it, right? Like, Meta's been behind for a long time now, and now even the Meta models that are coming out are actually really, really good. I seem surprised because, Meta's been on this talking about how amazing they're going to be for like 3 years, and they just haven't hit the nail on the head. The latest models they're releasing, and it should be released in the next few months, from a marketing point of view, they're models that will be integrated into any platform that you essentially are rolling out. For us, it's mostly in the back end of 365 and Azure. If you're talking about marketing, do all your marketing campaigns for you. So you don't even need to go to a digital marketing agency come next year. And so if you build that capability internally, we can use the AI models that they're releasing to look at all the data set that we have in our business, to know what campaigns to put together, and then physically go and do the campaigns for you, which means that's pretty incredible, right? If we talk about it from a sales perspective, like, we're doing a lot of AI voice bots at the moment for, I don't know why I'm still calling them bots, it's just a habit, I guess. Voice agents, let's call them. See, even that terminology changed over the last 5 years from a bot to an agent. Same thing, to be honest. 11 Labs is a really good, it's probably one of the best in the market when it comes to voice. And so I wouldn't go to a different model if I want to do voice. I would go to 11 Labs. So you've got to pick the right model depending on the process or the problem that you're solving. And as I said, there's 15 major models that we pick and choose. What's really, really cool that's happening in this space is we now have a layer that we can now embed the different models, and AI can now choose what model to use based on what it's trying to solve. So you're getting to the point that you won't even need to put too much thought process into this. I'll say within 12 months, where that thought process will be removed from us as experts, and we can build this layer in. We connect the 15 different AI models, and then AI will decide which model to go and use.
I imagine something you brought up earlier. So, yeah, it's the same thing here in the States where, like there would be automatic suspicion for any company to even just hold it on-prem and not even allow it access to the internet to use like
Yeah.
a Chinese model. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, Google has Gemma, right? That's basically for people who don't know, there are open source small versions of the big AI. They're not like versions of it, but they're like derivatives of it. And you can host them on a computer, like literally in a closet in your building, and you can use them for like small tactical tasks where you'd want to amp. And so the two American ones would be Meta and Google Gemma. And are there any European models? It just occurred to me while you were talking, like where is Europe in the whole AI picture?
Yeah, France is coming along crazy at the moment. So there's a few not in the open source consumer way, like as a consumer won't go and get these models. You probably would have never heard of these models before. But in the enterprise space, there's a lot of models popping up, especially I'm seeing fair bit coming out of Europe right now, but even France, where they're building very bespoke layer architecture models, but it's not a model the way you'd think of it, right? It's not a large language model you can go grab off the shelf and then you can go and roll this in.
So it's like a trained model already. It's a specialist in SCADA, or it's a specialist in like CNC machines or something like that.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, correct. And so a really easy way to explain this is they're not just selling you a model, they're selling you a solution, which means it comes with 20 or 30 or 40 consultants that are expertise.
So there's a professional services component when you buy it.
Yeah, that's right. Correct. And so they're going through and they're rolling out these, I guess you call them like AI models, to be honest. But they're solving a particular problem and it's on their data set. So a really good one that we've been looking at a fair bit lately is Mistral, Mistral AI. We're looking at it for one of our clients because we're solving a really complicated problem in their business. But the starting price, don't quote me here, but it was like $500,000.
Yeah.
So it's enterprise.
Hey, good for them if they can get it.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
But we're starting to see a lot of smaller models come up. So one thing we're trying to solve right now for a client is CAD drawings, 3D modeling. That really it's complicated from an AI point of view. It's complicated to solve, right? It's not really like a chat conversation. This is like physically
big problem to solve
by a 3D model. Yeah, exactly.
Like a hard engineering problem. So yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And I imagine if you're like a company in Europe, there's downsides to using a Chinese model and really downsides to using an American model, like just sort of culturally and in the headlines. So it's kind of nice if you have an alternative and you're a big company already in Europe.
That's right. Yeah. So that's the main one we're seeing over there. But yeah, as you know, the most American, right? Anthropic, OpenAI, the Microsoft models, the IBMs, the Googles, Amazons, X. We haven't actually dealt much with XAI, Elon Musk.
Grok.
Because it just not hasn't really been a thing. But I believe this year, with the way the trajectory is going with what he's releasing, I think we'll start seeing that come into play a bit more.
Okay, so this has been great, by the way. Thank you very much for this, Beth. I won't keep you any longer than I promised, but I do have one more question. I saw that, speaking of X, I saw this great tweet last week in a newsletter. Someone like screen captured it, and it said, you have to be unemployed to keep up with AI these days. Like it just changes so much. You'd have to make it your full-time job, right? I know. Is there anything around AI and AI go-to-market just generally that like you support or believe now that's different than what you believed or thought last year?
That's a very open-ended question because the answer is yes. I honestly wished I was not working right now. That might be really hard to understand what I'm talking about. This last 2 months, I have had the most fun I've had in the last 10 years, right? So I've physically have been off the tools from a tech point of view, from an engineering, from a development point of view. I haven't been on the tools for 10, 15 years. the last 2 months, I have been vibe coding my way to everything. And so I literally think about this and go, oh, I wish I didn't have to work today. I could just literally sit there and vibe code. And it's been raining a fair bit here in Australia, so I've been using the weekends to vibe code. It's been so much fun. From a sales point of view, I've been building my own sales AI agent and keeping that human in the loop approach. And so I'm pretty close. I'm probably like 80-90%. I might need one of our devs to help us out the last 10%. And where it's like I've broken down the entire sales process, I've re-engineered it. I'm now using AI agents to build the entire sales process, and it's going to be kind of like, think of it as like my sales assistant, but a very like extremely, not like a junior, like an expert sales assistant, right? To the point, I'll give you a real example now. All I do is when I have an opportunity with a new client, I grab their website link, I put the website link in the agent that I've built. And I say within milliseconds, within a few seconds, right? It will go and do all the research on every data point it can physically find online, websites, Google. I say Google, I don't think it even uses Google, to be honest. LinkedIn, data points. And then it matches our persona, who we are as a brand, who we're targeting, who our ideal customer is. Like I've baked all that into the agent. And it knows before I've even had the first conversation, is it the ideal customer? Where are they up to in their buying journey? What do I need to provide to them to get them across the line? Like it gives me everything ready to go. So before I've even turned up to the first, it used to be hour and a half meeting, 7 meetings. Like it used to be a long process just to go, okay, now I think you're ready. I can do this in the first 20-minute meeting now. I know exactly where they are, what questions to ask, what information to provide, know what the next stage looks like. The biggest thing I've been trying to solve is we had biggest pain for our business from a sales point of view was a 7.5 month average sales cycle. And I was like, I need to bring that 7.5 months average sales cycle down because in AI it's very educational right now. And so I believe once I go live with this and I've already started testing it, I can probably bring it down to like 3 months, even 2 months.
Yeah, I believe it. I a couple of months ago, for a couple hours a day for almost a month, I vibe coded with Claude Code to build a simulator for marketing and sales teams. And at the end of that, I stood it up. All the security audits have been done. It was wired up to Stripe. Everything was ready. The first customers were coming on. And my wife said, so like, how was that? And I said, honest to God, that was the most addictive thing I've ever experienced since PlayStation. Like, it's nuts. It's like constant dopamine reinforcement. Yes. You're always making improvements and progress the whole time. Yes. It's crazy.
I literally saw a meme the other day that said vibe coding is more addictive than gaming.
Yeah,
I've never been a gamer, but I could 100% believe it. I literally am addicted.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
It's fun. It is fun.
It's fun. Anyone watching this, if you've got literally any experience, even if you just took like one class one time back at university on software development, just like any experience at all, so you've got just enough knowledge to put together like the main pieces, it is the most fun you're ever going to have, is to just make a solution to a problem that you want to fix. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Lucas, so tell folks a little bit about you and where you are and what you guys do and how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Lucas Meadowcroft, CEO, co-founder of CROFTI. The great thing is that I'm the only Lucas Meadowcroft in the world, so you'll be able to find me on every social platform and website that exists. And so artificial intelligence implementation is our core. I've been in AI for 10 years. We've been implementing AI into businesses for a very long time. So this is not like a ChatGPT conversation. This is like, how do I practically go about implementing AI into my business? We come from a direction of people first. So how can we help you and your staff do what you love to do? That's the absolute core of what we do, right? So if we can help you solve that, and then all your staff then uplift, and they just the culture becomes happy, right? The culture becomes amazing because everyone's just doing what they love to do. We remove and replace everything that they don't like doing. 2 things occur. 1, culture becomes amazing. 2, your hiring process changes. The biggest thing we're seeing, especially in Australia, US, Canada, London, we work in all jurisdictions. staff has disappeared since COVID. The biggest thing that we get told every single day of the week from every organization around the world, there's no staff. Where have those staff gone? It's not that they've disappeared. It's been repositioned, right? For freelancers, contractors. There's a prediction that by 2030, majority of the workforce that we know today, the new generation coming in, won't be in a traditional job by 2030. They'll be in a whole new set of jobs. So what do these traditional businesses do? They can't hire staff, so we have to use AI to replace these particular tasks or roles. So we're absolutely having a lot of fun doing it. You can connect with me on LinkedIn or any of the social platforms. Happy to dive in and see if we can help you out and add that value back to your staff members so they can focus on what they love to do every day.
All right. It has been fantastic. Thank you so much. I had a great time. I'm sorry that you had to get up so early in Australia to do this, but I hope it was worth it. And thanks everyone. Yeah, the sun's coming out. That counts as daytime. All right, and thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.